Howdy, Beeflebart here, and welcome. Alright, so I'm going to be working on my map and dragging you poor suckers along. You lovely people along with me, and we'll be talking about BSP geometries and so forth. I think the first thing that I'm going to do is actually remake my stair system here, and that's just because I don't like the way this one actually turned out, so I'm going to redo it. So I'll probably go ahead and make it easier on myself and just spawn another one up here and work on it there. Actually going to go ahead and, hey Jesper, delete the stuff that I was doing in the brief stream prior. So yeah, the cruise ship itself, it's going to be a challenge overall. Actually got one that I saved here that has both of them on it. I don't need that. I'm just going to do one. So in theory, actually let's do the left one. I don't know why. Left before right. But I are not happy with this one. The way it came out. See all the different geometries are different sizes and so forth, and it just didn't work out. But BSPs themselves are really easy to work with. As long as you follow the basic system of rules. See how I got that? That's hollow, and the different BSPs don't line up. So I'm going to do this a little bit different. So I know that I needed to, by looking up here, since I don't have a material applied, I can use this as my ruler. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by, should be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I could probably get away with doing a single BSP geometry 300 by 800 by 600. I don't know if anybody watched or saw the post I just put in Discord. Yeah, today is Tuesday, and yeah, my dentist appointment's not till Friday, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to be able to do the x-ray and the evaluation. What evaluation? Yank this frickin' tooth out. But then we may not be able to get to the extraction until next week. Really? What part of I am in pain every day is not understood about this? For something like this, I generally would call we'll get the medical university in downtown Charleston, MUSC, and they have an emergency dental clinic, and it's usually a hell of a lot cheaper and can sometimes get in a little bit quicker, but hell, you may be down there for 4, 5, 6 hours and got to pay for a parking garage. So that kind of sucks. 600 by 800 by 300. I hope by watching while I'm working here, let's go 450 on my height. Turn my snapping back on for now. You guys can kind of get an idea of what it's going to take to do this stuff. Negative 10,000. I don't like random numbers. So my OCDs. So to make another version of that, using this as my reference, I know that I need to go 300 this way, and I know that this is then going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 500 by, I want to leave an allowance of 20 thickness for my walls, here and here, and here. So I'm going to have to probably create a couple for removing the excess, and then add in the stairs separately. So I'll just bring in another BSP. Yeah, I've screwed up quite a few times on mine, and I honestly have been wanting to get this map done as a priority versus the Fright Night, because we can use this map for Fright Night as well. And there's a couple reasons why I chose this particular ship from Carnival Cruise Lines, is because the ship that's used with this name, the Fascination, is part of a certain class of ships that they have a bunch of. And I've been on a couple cruises with them, and every one of those cruises has been on this class of ship. So I know this ship because I've actually been on it a few times, and I know how the overall thing feels in size and all that. So kind of have a little bit of a leg up. And here's another thing as well. My whole entire plan is that I want to, and I hope by doing this contest I can get more people that I can bring on as developers for my team. And the entire plan is, whenever I release this game, it's going to be for sale. It's not going to be free to play. And it's going to be low cost, but there will be a cost to it, so that can actually generate some income from it. And one of the things that I want to do is, and it's going to be a little on the expensive side, but I want to take all of my developers who contribute to this project on a cruise, and we have a cruise terminal right here in Charleston that's like 10 miles away from me, using this same ship that we're modeling. So worst case scenario, I take money that's made from sales of the game and actually pay for the cruise. So, you know, just for you being in Europe, would be kind of expensive if you were on the dev team, and for me to have to pay for your airfare to get to Charleston and then to pay for the cruise. Myself, you know, I'll treat myself to a single room, but if there's more developers that they are on that, then I'll, you know, got to pay for double occupancy if there's only one in a room. So, you know, if we've got 2 other people that can share a room, they'll have separate beds. You won't be like staying in the same bed with each other, unless you want to. I won't judge a lot. But, you know, let's see, I want this one to be 500 in the Y. So that's my plan. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario is I come up with a way of getting Carnival Cruise Lines to accept sponsoring the ability that we're going to have one of their ships that they have quite a few of, and actually have it into the game, and offer them the fact that I'm going to have signs and television commercials and things like that running inside the game. And, you know, in lieu of advertising and positive advertising, I actually, you know, every cruise line that's out there has had their little hiccups and problems here and there. And, you know, Carnival's had a couple here and there, but who cares?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I wish I could wet my pants.
Awesomeness. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm still fighting with PayPal, trying to get my bank authorized. So your transaction is the only one so far that's required me to do the authorization all over again for my bank that I've had registered with them for 10 years. So, yeah. I'm still fighting with that, but I do very much appreciate it that everything comes in handy. And hopefully get you on board and you can actually be one of my developers and go on a cruise too. Of course, that means I have to pay for your airfare out of the game money. But yeah, if I can get Carnival Cruise Line, though, to be a sponsor, then, hell, that'll be even better. Let them pay for or give us a free cruise for, you know, a handful of staff. That, to me, would be freaking awesome. I'm going to have to break this in 3 chunks. These stairs are 150, I think, is that height. So we'll make that, even if you're not quite unquote, I can't talk. Yeah, it's still pending because of PayPal. The way that it was sent um, requires verification, and I've had this account registered with PayPal for probably every bit of 10 years. Let's try it at 140. So I'll either get it resolved or I'll just refund it back. Height. Ooh. Damn it, still got a gap. Which I don't understand why yours was hung up like that whenever other donations have come in and not been a problem. It's just weird. Yeah, I used to years ago was a decided I would make my money from eBay and did pretty good with it, and was actually a power seller on eBay. Had a PayPal Premier Platinum business account, eBay power seller. At that time, if you had a certain amount of sales on eBay, you actually qualified for their insurance program. So I had health insurance through eBay. Made pretty good money, and was just getting too big too fast. And whenever I needed to hire a third person, I was like, you know what, I'm working really, really too hard for this little bit of money. So I kind of, yeah, I will actually have to call my bank and find out what's going on with that. Because the normal method of doing it is PayPal will say, like, they will send you two little small, less than $1 deposits. And all you have to do is go back on PayPal and you enter those two amounts in there. Well, I never received those two little less than $1 frickin' deposits. They never show up on my statements. And whenever I try to log in the other way, I guess my bank security features or whatever refuse to allow it to do that way, but it works on other stuff. So why it didn't work on PayPal, I don't know. So I'm just gonna have to get on the phone with them. Sorry, hate to pick my teeth while I'm on video here, but I hate to have to deal with calling them, waiting on hold, and all that junk. But I'll get it figured out. It's not a big deal. X 280. Too wide. Let's try 260. So here's where I'm having some measurement issues on these stairs. Is I thought I originally had these stairs set at a width of 280 to try to compensate, because I'm going to have 20 here, 20 here out of the 60. So, or 600. I had all these measurements down, and for some reason just things aren't lining up the way that they should. So I'm going to make them cooperate. Sorry, I've been having to use Anibisol, which is like Oragel type stuff. It put on a Q-tip and have to soak the gums around where the tooth is for my toothache, and it leaves little strands of cotton sometimes from the Q-tip. Alright, so yeah, things are just not lining up exactly the way I want them to right now. So that to me looks like it's perfectly up against that wall. And it's at 260. I mean, if I do 270, that'll fill both sides. But you see, snapping is going to be a problem here. And I love using snapping because it fulfills my OCDs. I know that son of a bitch next door over there playing his freaking bass music while I'm trying to record. He knows that this is the time of day that I'm usually working. I've had to have a discussion with the idiot next door multiple times of keeping his noise down, keeping his freaking pit bulls restrained, and yeah, he's just being a douche. So I'll call the freaking cops on him again. I don't give a shit. I've already reported him to his landlord. Landlord won't do shit. So I'm just going to have to file a lawsuit against this guy for being a shit neighbor. There actually is a laws in this town that if you're being a nuisance neighbor, I can actually file a civil suit against you and win and sue you for being a douchebag neighbor. So that's what I'm going to end up having to do, is sue this dumb prick for just being a nuisance. I'm not a racist. I don't have any racial bias or anything, but you know, black people in general have been fighting for years to get equality, be treated, you know, whatever. But when there's so many that still act like complete and utter morons, I don't treat somebody badly because of their skin color. If I treat you like shit, it's because you're an asshole. So I'm probably going to have to put my headset down and walk next door and show my ass a little bit. Because it's very disrespectful for him to do that. And he'll do it sometimes 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And the people around the world just need to quit being douchebags and think about somebody else besides themselves. I make comments while I'm playing games and stuff about people just being oblivious to anything and everything else going around them. So it's very distracting when you're trying to work and you're trying to, and I'm dumb as a sack of rocks. So when I'm trying to do mathematics and shit, I need every bit of concentration I can get. You got 20 here, and you're going to have 10 overlap here. So that's right on this. And I'm going to have to shore up these measurements here because that's going to annoy me to have decimals behind there. So I'm just going to zero that and do the same thing here. And here. Thankfully the idiot only does that shit for a short amount of time. But see, now I have a gap. So let's try, and I shouldn't have to, because, yeah, it's just not lined up perfectly. Is this lined up perfectly? No, it is not. So, negative 8,700. That would be negative 550 and 370. So that will fix some of my issues. No, I'm trying to click on this one now. So just want to line this up because I'm going to use this as a subtractive. So let's do negative 440 and that should be perfect. So I'm not going to turn that subtractive because, you know, I got to put it over here. And I know that I need to have it over by 20. So I can go ahead and do subtractive over here now. All that OCD to get it lined up, and Now I gotta make sure this one's lined up. And I'll leave it overlapping so I can actually look down here and get my measurements. So let's try negative 440, and let's try, and I totally missed that measurement there. So that's my 20 overlap right there. So I just want to look at this number, negative 9855. Negative 9855. So there, that's good. And I just have to move it back this way now. Line it up, and we'll go with negative 450. And it's not sticking through the top. Well, I'm going to go ahead and Y, oh Y, there we go. Subtractive, are you not there? So let's look at the height of this again. Got 100, 150, and it's not a true 150 because 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. So yeah, the height isn't correct. And I think the problem is in my stairs. So you use a linear stair, and let's go ahead and rotate that around. So if you guys have got any questions about the challenge in general, then just shoot them out as we're going here. So we need to match up the height, and that's fine if this is 150 right here. I can live with that. So let's look at the height here. It's 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's not a perfect number. So let's actually resize this one right here so that it'll actually be exactly 150. So honestly, we can just go ahead and raise it up or lower it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should need to lower it down, which means it's probably not going to be the right height. Now I'm gonna have to make it bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So let's actually make it a little bit taller. We'll make it 150. That could be why. So there we go. We got 150. We got 20 this way. That'll leave us a gap of 10 here, and then 10 here, and then the next one will be right there. So we're at a height of 150. So we're exactly right there in the middle. So now let's go ahead and I'm just going to drag these stairs over, and I want to make it so that the stairs are 150 in height. So I can reduce the number of stairs. So I can make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll go down here. Let's click off of it again and click back on it again. So let's try it at 7 stairs. And it's just not quite high enough, but we can adjust the step height. Let's try it at 21. Not quite there. And you can't do fractions. You can't do 21.5. It rounds up or down. So let's try 22, and that's too high. So the other option is to actually lower it down, and I don't want to do that because it may project down. And what I'm coming to think of it, I am going to have to do a floating stair, because whenever I put and I stack it one on top of the other here, then I need this area right here opened up. So the bottom needs to be hollow. So I'm going to need to create a floating stair. So I can actually take this and worst case scenario, I can lift the whole thing up and just chop off the bottom of it. So I can't get it exactly the height that I want. I can kind of fudge it and make it work. If that makes any sense. Because you want this to be perfectly at the right height. You don't want to have any gap or anything like that. You want it to be as smooth as possible going across so that everything lines up. So I'm going to go ahead and complain and be a grumpy old bastard. I mean, get everything lined up just right here. So let's go ahead and resize this opening, which I said was 270. So the step width 270, and now I can line that up. So you can see I can line it up by lining up the checkerboard patterns here. It is really close. And if you're not mentally defective like I am, you can actually get this. I want my Y measurement, which is location Y is 450. So that is not going to do anything for me, because this is lined up here and that is lined up in the center. So I'm going to have to do that silly mathematics stuff. So let's try it at 10. It is not quite lined up. So why is it not quite lined up? That's at 10 on the Y. That's at 450. I mean, it is only off by a very small amount. But it's kind of critical when you're setting this up if you're going to be doing a copy and paste quite a bit. I'm going to use this particular one. It's going to get used at least 3 times on this level of the ship alone. So we're at, and if we did 11, let's see what that looks like. That actually looks pretty good. So negative 10,000, no. So we're going to try negative 99.90. See if that lines up. And that looks good. Said that before, but now it is. And let's try 9. And that looks good. So that's fine, even though that's not where it's going to go. I need to paste in a new version, and I need to reduce by 1 to make it 6 stairs, and then move that to here, and we need to make that one subtractive. So when you're making your floating stairs, you do yours subtractive, where this comes down there like that. You just want to line that stair up with the one you're doing for the subtractive, and there you go. So now I can grab both of those, this one and this one, and slide it back. And I'm going to have to do it one more time. Let's grab the second one, Control C, Control V, and I need to actually bring that up. That's going to be a problem. So I need an inverted stair. So I'm going to end up having to make this into static mesh, and that's not going to work. I freaking need to remove that whole section there. So what I'm going to have to do is, for now, grab both of these stairs, drag them this way. What are you doing? Oh, I still have that extra one there. So I want these two, and I'm just going to drag them out of the way, and I'm going to have to put another subtractive in to chop out that area. So I know that my stairs now are going to carry over to, again, I'm just going to line them up, and I can see that, yeah, I'm not worried about that. That'll be fine. 210. So I need to create another BSP geometry that's going to fit this area. That's going to be... Yeah, I'm streaming. Hang on a second, guys. Friday. I'm gonna have to. Sorry. So I'm just gonna have to get that width, which was 270. Apply that here on my X. And Y needs to be 210. Subtractive. This can be sometimes as much fun as watching paint dry, but I honestly find it relaxing. So it's got to chop this area out here and make sure it's lined up perfectly. So let's look. Negative 98.55. How's that look? Z height needed to be 150. And then just bring it up. So, kind of sucks there. Let's try 375 on my height. Nope, 380. Really, you're going to be off. Well, that works. So you're going to have to get creative when you're doing this stuff so that you get it just right. And let's go 376. And hopefully that will extend through the bottom, so whenever I lift it up, it will be there. So let's actually grab this one, this one, this one, and I'm going to go ahead and pick the whole thing up. And no, it is not going to work. So I'm going to have to change the height of this guy. I'm going to have to make his Z height 151. So now if I grab the three of those, pick it up, it should... Nope. That's the thing about undoing what you're doing, so you can actually Control Z to undo something. So let's actually remove that and put that back at 375. And now pick it up. And it is completely see-through. That's what we need. So now we can grab the stairs, drag them in, and they should work. And of course it's not. because that one subtractive is going to keep going over there. So this is the puzzle, trying to figure out how you can make everything work the way that you need it to. So I'm probably going to have to do the stairs separately. So I'm going to have to make that a static mesh and that a static mesh and play with the measurements. So yeah, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to get rid of the stairs, and this last one that I just created, I'm just going to make this go all the way across to there, so that, and I can't really do that because I need a landing area here, and then I'm going to need another hollow area there so that the floor is going to be a height of 20. So I'm going to have to create another subtractive geometry, reduce the height to 131, and slide it in. Stick it in the hole. Line it up. Now I have my platform that the stairs will go up to. And now I just need to make sure that this is correct. Make it exactly on the mark for... So let's try that at negative... So you see the issue that you're going to run into whenever you're creating these things is you got to get everything just right and lined up. So I don't really want to see any cuts in this wall right here. So if I click on anything else, just so I can look at it, you can see there's a little line there. So I'm going to have to clean that up or hope that I can get the material to cover it up. So let's try negative 304. Take your time when you're creating your static mesh that you're building from a BSP geometry. If you take your time with it now, you won't regret it later. So looks better. There's still a line. You notice how these boxes are a little bit off center? It's because my measurement is not perfect here. So that needs to come back just a hair more so that it, actually I'm going to bring it, this box needed to be 210, so I just wanted to perfectly line up there at 210, and that's got it now. You know, that's just really, really, really damn close. And it's going to create a line there. I'm just not going to be happy with any of this. That's the thing, is I get hypercritical on things and I end up getting mad with what I'm doing. So I've got to have the cutout that goes on the top, goes all the way across. I got to have one on the bottom that goes only to here, then another one that continues on. So I'm going to let it ride. I'm going to let it sit at that. And then I just need to make another cutout to be for this side. And this one, because you have to think about it, because now if I take this one, Control C, Control V, make a copy and paste, and I park it on top. And if I try to walk on it, then play from here. So if I walk in here, you can see why I got to have that space there. You can see how that gap isn't lining up. Then I'm not going to have any room right here to be able to get to this stair. So you have to think about building your stairs so that they're functional. So I can come in here, turn around, go over here. This is actually going to carry me up to the second floor. Then I can walk around over here, go into the stairs that are above, which will be up here, climb up to here, turn around, go up here. So that's how my stairs are going to work. But I need to have this area needs to be hollowed out, but still have, yeah, see, that's where it's going to be screwy. So I have to cut this out all the way across to here. But I still need 20 for the flooring here. So that now whenever I'm over here, this area above here is why I've got that notched out. So let's go ahead and just create another BSP and chop out this section. So it needs to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 480. So we'll do 480. No, quit being a dumbass. Y of 480, and let's go ahead and turn it into subtractive. So our width is going to have to be, so that we have exactly 20 for our wall thickness there. We need to do, instead of doing math, I can actually count. I could do 280. I don't like math. Makes my brain hurt. 290. Because technically now we don't need this wall section over here, but I'm going to leave it. Because it leaves me a 280 here, and it should be a 280 here. So whatever I'm creating, this has 270. So I need to go ahead and make this, this, and this. These three need to be 280 wide. So my measurements are off this way. So that needs to be adjusted. That's why I'm getting the odd number there. So I do 280 there, and if this one is 280, and now whenever I line this up to get a 20 wide wall there, now that cuts that out and looks good. My depth is wrong, so I need to move it this way so that we have a 20 wall there. And I'm going to have to take out this piece right here. That's why I couldn't take that all the way across. So this one will just be a simple 20 on the X. So it's nice and thin. Bring it up here, and it should be 300 on the Y. And 150 on the X, I mean Z. One of those letters. Since I want to make sure that I've got good coverage through it, then instead of it being exactly the width of the wall above, I'll make it like 22 on the X, so I can center it up on this wall. and it'll cut all the way through. Guess if you guys got any questions while I'm doing this, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 180. Gonna answer some other questions while I'm doing this. $280. And the height was wrong between this one and this one. So I got 150 there. What was this guy? So the floor has to be the same. You're at 525. So this one needs to be redone. That's why it's not lining up, is that. So 151. Yeah, like I said, this can be boring to watch. But getting it right now, spending the time, getting your measurements right. This is 525. So, now I guess we have to do the same thing as I did before. And yeah, being on pain medication dulls the brain a little bit. So, like I said, trying to do something as basic as simple mathematics is absolutely just destroying my brain. So once I convert this to a static mesh, I'm not going to be able to come back and do any more deletion of certain areas or whatever else. So I got to keep it all into BSP mode and get everything perfectly lined up and looking right. And I'll come back and I'll put material on it, a material at least, so that I can edit that material later. And honestly, if you were to create this like in Blender or 3ds Max or whatever else, then you would have to model all of it, and I wish there was a simpler way of doing this. And if you guys have suggestions on how I can make this work better, please just jump right in and say, hey, why don't you do it like this? I am open for suggestions. I know I need a vertical wall here, and honestly, it doesn't really matter if this wall extends up too high, because that's going to be fine. Same thing with this wall. And I want to imagine this wall as well, because by the time I put in a set of stairs and put them in place, and I believe we said we had 7 at 21. So by the time we throw in the stairs, we have to step with 280. make concessions because we have to do hollow stairs underneath. So that will go right to that wall. And you can see it's just not perfectly lining up. If I raise it up, then it doesn't go there. So, shit. If I take that at 22, lower it back down, then it goes too far down. And it won't let me do fractions. So, my subtractive ones are the ones that are going to have to compensate. So, I'll actually have to come in here, line it up on the floor perfectly, and chop off the top with a BSP geometry subtractive. Subtracting my brain. So I'll have another set of stairs here, but they have to be hollow stairs. I can combine static meshes, but I kind of want to make it to where this steps and the ones that are right here are exactly the same size. So I can just create one static mesh for these stairs and just rotate them and put them in place where I need to, right here. Like so. So with one static mesh for the stairs, then I could use it here and here. So this is where my frustrations run into. I'm going to delete that, and this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. I'm going to delete all that shit and start it over. Just because it annoys the crap out of me. I can't seem to get it right. So it would seem like it would be logical to create this wall and this wall separately and just chop off this whole block here and make multiple sections. Make a flat here for the floor and this vertical wall and this vertical wall and this vertical wall. So instead of adding a bunch of subtractives in, just basically cut this wall down to nothing. So we need it to be, you can see you've got 300 distance here. So if I took this one and I reduced the Y to 300, the width is correct. So negative 850. There's a 50 in there because my measurements for getting everything to line up just worked out to split 1 in half. So now if I do this, then I create this L-shaped wall here because this side's going to be up against a wall and it's not going to matter. And then I can create a wall that comes across here. So then all I have to do is just create 3 BSPs and then create my stairs. So this should, in theory, work. So if we do this on X of 20. Am I boring you guys to death yet? Because shit, this is boring as crap to me. I mean, it's relaxing, but I can imagine it's not really that fun to watch. So we need to make this a Y500. Unless you guys are just doing other shit while you're listening and not really watching what I'm doing. So now the measurement that I wanted. This should be negative 450 and 450. So this one just needs to be lined up right here. I'm actually going to turn snapping back on, see if I can get it to work. Of course not. Negative 450, and we'll try... Lovely. Okay, so now I've got that wall, and I need my L-shaped wall. This one, we were measuring out 210 before, but now we can actually make this whatever we want. We can make this exactly 200. So I'll do a BSP. We know the Z height is 300. We need a Y of 20. Let's actually do it the other way. Let's leave this at 200. And we'll do 20 this way. Make this wall. So if we do this, then we're going to want to split this one in half. So split the line on it. So where this is at negative 99, I can make it negative 10,000, and it perfectly splits that line. So that's lined up nicely. Now we just need the one that goes this way, and that'll be it. Then I can just create my stairs. No subtractives needed except for on my stairs, where I just need to make a floating set of stairs times 2. So we want the Y to be 20, the Z height of 300, and we need 290 on the X. Shit. Negative. I want it to line up perfectly, damn it. $101.50. Why won't you? Negative 101.55. Now that's perfect, and you are perfect. So that solves my issues. Just by putting a vertical wall here and here, and then I'll need to create a flat section here and 2 sets of stairs. So we know this needs to be, instead of 600, it needs to be 580 on the X. 580, and it needs to be 300 on the Y, 200 on the X. I mean Z. F, 9, 7, or whatever. And that goes to there. And that is freaking lovely. So all we need now is stairs. And this should be width of 280. Should work. It's wanting 270. And it would be 290 there. So that puts what? This wall off. Yeah, so this one's going to have to be 290, and this one's going to have to be 280. So I am going to have to create two separate ones here. A 270 and a 290, because this is not lining up, because the fact that we have no wall on this side protruding in by 20. So if we actually take this wall and shrink it by 20, so instead of a y-axis, we can make that 180, move it over 10, and over this way 20. Oh, I don't like math. It makes my brain hurt. So this is 280, and it wants to be 290. Now, I just need to make this over 10. So with this, I need to shrink this wall down by 10 more. So it becomes the 280. So I know that that 280 stair is going to fit there perfectly, and there. So, okay. We got it. We got it. And this one can now come to the end. Can actually make it 300. Yes, 300. So now I can quit letting my brain melt and just set up my stairs. I'm gonna try it with 6. Because we changed our overall height of everything. So we can actually make the stair length 31. We'll try a couple different measurements to fill up that spot and make it flush with this wall. So, oh, unreal. You kidding me? I will just have to shrink you over just a millimeter, and you're only going to go in increments of 10. So you can actually come over here and change that. Change it to increments of 1 for your snapping. Or 5, or whatever number you want. You don't have to leave it defaulted at 10. And my height now is going to be off. So I guess it doesn't matter if I push it back a little bit there. But what it is going to matter is whenever I go to put it in right there, it's now not going to fit. So my stair length needs to be correct. That's good. So now I can do that. Yeah, I linked that to you earlier, and I linked it in chat. I need to go ahead and sign up for it. Unreal Engine 4, it's actually in beta, so it's not like a full release like it is for Unity. But I need to go ahead and sign up for it. I'm going to grab both of these stairs so I can see what the hell I'm doing. But with that, it'll let multiple people work on the same map at the same time. So as I'm over here making these stairs, somebody else could be finishing up the bow of the ship for this level and really speed up the process of making maps, because everybody can have their own job to do, and just, oh, you asshole thing. Yeah, it looks really awesome. I was talking to a gentleman from Cinti Studios, and they use it, and they absolutely freaking love it. Control V. So I'll get signed up for it, and if you're already signed up for it, we can actually test it out sometime, see what it's like. That would actually be a great teaching tool also for helping people with their maps. How do I do this? How do I do that? I can just jump right into your map and look at what you're doing. And if your name is Skippy, I can, you know, automatically start cussing at you for doing your BSP geometries wrong. Oh, shit. Yeah, I kind of don't like the fact that you got to sign up and hope you get on it. See what I'm running into here. This stair is not lining up perfectly. I'm going to actually have to add a step. Go back to 7 here. And it's still going to be wrong. And 6 here. Well, for one, this is wrong. I lined it up there when I got the height set here at, yeah, had it before set it to 150. So it should be there, and now I got to redo both sets of stairs. Cool. So I will fix this one first and go back to 6 and 5. And hopefully now I can try to get them lined up. So that's where the problem's going to run into, is with my subtractive. I can probably just dump it back to 4. Change hide 455. There. Now I have an awkward little thing here because I changed my stair height to 18. Shit. I'm actually going to change it to 20. Oh, and I see the other problem here is raise that up. So now that should bring it up to see, I'm going to have a lip here. Front wall needs to be perfect. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's good. I could change my stair length. It was 30 before. And I completely changed that. And that's just not going to work. So 20, I want to keep height of 20 and just vary my length here, I guess. Because I actually also have to make sure that, see, my height's not right there. It's just one thing after another. I'm trying to get all this crap lined up. Because honestly, that needs to be 5. And that doesn't completely cover it. Because of my stair length at 35, I would then have to move it. Now that's right. But my height isn't correct. So I need to add one more stair to both of them. So I go back to the 7 that I started with, and this one goes back to 6 that I started with. And now the height is off by 1. See, now you got a little bit of weirdness there. And I have to take this one. I have to take 1 extra off of that. So I'm going to have weirdness no matter what I do. I mean, I can always just shift this over. gonna let that ride. So I want you guys to do this shit for me. So I don't have to do this. I can go back to working on the rest of the game. See, now I got to fix these two here. So I'm going to add that back to 7 again. And the other one I had the stair length of 35. And so if this is 300, why is that short? Because I didn't bring that up. That's at 400. That should be at 400 as well. But let's put it at 450 to get the right height. This one should be at 450. So that brings that to the correct height. But again, if this is 300, why wasn't this 200? Because it's 280, so I can tuck behind here. Never mind. So that's doable for now. I just need to get them moved over by 1. And no, you're being stupid. Negative 10.0, 020. So that's good, that's good. So it's back to these two. Step height back to 20. And reduce the number of stairs. No. Try 30 again. Now if I change it any less than 30, it's going to look really awkward because this is set to 35 on stair length. I can probably take it back to 30. Which means that one needs to go back to 30 as well. Because that doesn't go all the way to there like it should. Nope, that's got to be 5. Alright, so I'm just going to have to suffer with that being a little bit of a ledge one way or the other. So I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Because there's no way that I can make it look right one way or the other without throwing it off in one direction. So you can just do that just to make it look right from below, I guess. No matter what, that one's got to cut that wall out. So you know what? I'm going to come over here and I am going to play from here. What do you think? This any better than that junk over there? See that it's hollow there, which is fine. It's what I needed. I guess the best way to do it is I'm going to grab this guy, get you out of here. This guy, get you out of here. Now take a look at this. If I go to here and select all of that, if I lift it up, now I can see better underneath there. And I can see that I got a little bit of an issue right there. So to rectify that situation, I guess the best thing I can do is just trim that off, or see if I can actually manually trim these stairs one more time. So I know that they're relatively right, so I can just go ahead and grab all of it, bring it up, look at it from underneath, because I don't want the subtractive to go any deeper than it is now. So, and we don't want it to cut into the top part. So that looks good enough there. And honestly, this can stick out this way a little bit more. Because when you're on the floor, it's okay if the stair sticks out a little bit that way. It's just that it can't be wrong here. So that'll get those stairs. See, that's a 20 gap there. So it lines up perfectly there. And you know what? That's good. This is going to work. It's going to have to. So grab that. We're all good to go. I can make that into a static mesh, but I'm going to go ahead and apply some textures, a texture to it, or a material, just because. So I'm going to select my material, and let's see if I can do a batch. I doubt it, but brush type, is there a material in here? No. That would have been convenient. I'm just going to make this one solid material for now. Just select the material, do that, select all adjacent surfaces, and do that. So again, grab that, select all adjacent surfaces, hit the arrow. So with it all selected, all one material, I'm not going to do the stairs. In fact, yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll make sure that the walls are one material. And here's the thing though, is this subtractive here needs to be that same material as well. So I'm going to have to, there we go. Select all adjacent surfaces. And no, I don't want to do that. I want to just get that surface and do that. So that I can split the material this way. And now the underside, I want to be the same material, but not now. Once I convert it into a static mesh, I want to have the ability to make the stairs any color that I want. So I'm going to put this ugly carpet texture on here, even though I don't want that particular texture on there now. I can change it later once I've actually converted it to a static mesh. I want the top of it to be the other material, but not necessarily the bottom. So if I want to add this to like a wood texture or something of that nature, I can do that. So I want this one to be the carpet texture. I actually want to rotate that 90 degrees. And got to do all of these on the stairs. So sometimes you can get away with doing the control left click and it will work. But what I've found is doing that, sometimes it just decides it doesn't want to cooperate. I know, let's see, like that. I didn't click anywhere that was not where I wanted to be, and it just dropped. So all I do is I go in here and I select, a couple of them and do it, and then do the rest. Small batches. And I want to contrast. Alright, let me select all of them. Thank you. Rotate 90 so that works. Let's go do this. Apply the material. Rotate them. Isn't this a lovely carpet texture? It's actually pretty close to the one that is actually on the hallways of this particular deck of that particular ship. So it's actually pretty close. Not 100% perfect, but close enough. So walls are all that texture. This side here is not going to matter. I'm going to do something a little bit awkward here in just a minute. Alright, so that wall needs to be here, 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 here. Asshole. Fuck you. I did not tell you to fucking move. I'm sorry. Did I suddenly get a case of the fucking potty mouth? Shitting thing decided to move on its own. I'm telling it to select faces, not move anything. You asshole. Alright, it's getting to the point where UE4 is starting to do stupid shit to me. So I'm going to finish applying my materials to this stairwell, and I'll show you what I'm going to do here. since I need to make another one, and it is not an exact duplicate, which would be easy. I'm going to turn this into the static mesh, and then I'm going to hit undo. Shit, wrong material. Howdy to BMAC, who joined the Discord. And since it'll bug me if I don't have a material on here, I'm just going to put one on there. Even though you'll never see that spot right there, I know that if I don't do it, then I'll regret it. So now what I want to do here is I want to grab all these feathermuckers, and I am going to keep it simple, stupid, Control C and Control V. Now I still have that selected, and I'm going to create static mesh. Assets, mesh, and we're going to make this our new stairwell 01 underscore R. So now I've got that static mesh, and it's good to go. I can grab this one, chuck it in the frickin' garbage, grab this guy, actually go into my mesh folder and open it up, and you see how I've got one material that is not represented here. I can actually put whatever I want on there. But I also need to come in here and do general settings, change light map resolution to 64 and light map coordinate index to 1. And for now, until I get a chance to make my own custom collision, I'm going to do that. And save. And now I can just go ahead and drop this in position, and it should be perfect. Go that way, and that way, and there we go. This whole section right there is absolutely wasted, and that's actually because, best that I can tell, they use that for running plumbing and wiring and things of that nature. So it's like storage access, or it actually could be a room there. I don't remember. Don't care. This is what I needed. This is what works. So now if I hit play, I can walk down the hallway. And again, all this wall texture I got to redo anyway to make a new material for that. So I need to do a lighting build as well. So now I can come over here, walk up the stairs, and here's the true test. Grab this, duplicate it, and get it in position. Now, if I walk over here, and this is where I'm going to take a break, is I'm doing my lighting build, and now we can see we can walk up and down. And now there will be a floor here, so it's not like that's just going to be floating in the air. So now, oh, fuck me to tears. That did need to be open. That's why I didn't delete that yet. So you can see the bottom needs to be there so that it blocks it off. Great. But when we get to here, every one after that, that wall needs to be gone. So, since I didn't delete this, and I have all of this still here, I'm going to Control C, Control V, drag that over here, and grab this guy, delete. Then I just need to find that particular stair brush, and increase the stairs by 1. And fix it back to where it should have been to begin with. Now I can go ahead and redo my materials there. In fact, on this one, I can do select all adjacent surfaces and do that. We are almost done. I am going to go ahead and place that and that. Those look fine. That looks good. So now, it's going to go through and make sure I got the right ones. So I'm just going to move it to make sure I got all of them. There we go. And I will create that as a static mesh. So we'll just go back to our assets mesh. Let me call the other one stair well 01A underscore. Is it left? No, it was yeah, I don't care. I can always rename it. Yeah, it was left. So the other one, where is my other one? I can delete you and then check you. You are R. So I do need to change the name of that one. And save all. And since I didn't do this one yet, go into this one. And again, let's go ahead and just throw material on there. Scroll down to our general settings. 64 for my lap dance fucker light map resolution. And light map coordinate index 1. And for now, until I build a collision mesh. Now, if you want to, you can actually take and export this as an FBX and then go into Blender or whatever else and actually do it the right way and make a collision for it. But since I'm not to that point yet, I'm just going to leave it in the ugly way of doing use complex as simple. For what I'm doing for right now, it's going to work perfectly fine. But before I actually do anything to finalize the project, then I would go in and actually create I would export it out and actually do it the right way. Create a collision mesh in Blender. Or ask somebody else really, really nicely to do it for me, because I suck donkey nuts at Blender. So I'm going to hit play, and let's walk around. And no, I have not done any Cinti Studios assets in here yet. I'm just trying to get functionality first. So I can walk over here, and I can walk up here. There will be a floor here, so that won't be a problem. So, lovely. This is going to be exactly what I needed. And if I get to one where I need that wall again, I have both available to me. So, we're good. And the reason why I kept this version right here like this is because I'm going to have to rearrange things. When I go over here, if I were to just take this and say, oh, well, I can just rotate it 180 degrees and it'll be perfect. And no. But all I have to do now is just move my stairs. I move this wall to over here. This wall can stay pretty much where it is. And then the stairs, just everything else used to move over 20. And that's it. And then I can go through and make the 2 copies like I did before, knowing now what I knew then. So, awesome. I'm going to take a break for a little bit. If you guys want me to continue, let me know, and I will pick up where I left off. But now that I've got this, I'm going to go ahead and here, copy and paste those 2. But I want to go over and delete the old temporary one on this side. And there. Select these 2 again. And I can just drag them down here and put them in place. They're good to go. So now whenever I start making the next floor, then I know that I have my stairwell in place. And I've already got some subtractives, some floor plates that I can put down, so I can just copy the bottom floor and move it up. I'm going to have to make it a different size. So I can't just copy and paste this and use this for all of my floors, because if you look, this is the Riviera deck, the one I'm working on right now. The next floor up is longer. The one above it is just a hair longer. One above it's just a hair longer. The one above it's even longer, and then they get shorter after that. So each one's going to be a different length, so I'm going to have to trim them to make what I need. Won't be a problem though. Just got to do one floor at a time. I'll come back in, and like I showed earlier with doing the BSP geometries, I will create the bow of the ship after I get my approximate reading of, like say, right now I'm doing the Riviera deck. So I'll look at this one. I still have the back of the ship to add on there and the rest of the bow. So from right here forward, I need to create as another BSP geometry and then get it in the shape that I want. And I'm going to wait though until I actually build this intersection first, and then I will get some of these rooms here and just kind of size them up and approximate. The fact that they're staggered like this looks kind of crappy, but that's the way it is. So what I may do is, if I want, I could follow that contour, but I'm going to leave that staggered appearance on the outside because that's going to affect the way that they would look on the inside. And again, I don't have to create the interior of all these rooms. You don't have to have over 1,000 friggin' staterooms. You only need about 8, and just they're clones of each other. And you put a teleporter where the door is, so essentially you teleport to a single room of a single type. So every room of that type goes to the same room. Instead of cloning it, you only have 10, 12 rooms, and they're just cloned. Then whenever you're working on the upper decks, like this right here, I mean, come on, there's not that many walls inside here. This would be the only thing that would be a pain in the ass, but it doesn't have to have that little recessed or protruding area there. You could just make a circle and then subtract the BSP geometries to make this area for the outside wall. But this is where you're going to have some interior and exterior walls, because you're going to see this from the outside. Same as this. This is an outside room. There's a big skylight that goes to the floor below it, so that's got to be done. And then this, yes, there's actually a mini golf course, a mini putt-putt golf course right here on the ship, and that's actually a protrusion going straight up. This is little metal archway doorway here and here that allows you to walk around in front here. There is a wall that goes around right there. So if you get to this part and you got questions about anything on the ship, let me know, because like I said, I have been on the ship a few times. And you notice that the stairwells that I'm building, they don't have that little angled piece in there, and I'm going to leave that off. It's just one extra detail that doesn't need to be there. So let's go ahead and do our lighting build to make sure that these guys are right, and then I'll do one more walkthrough and I'll take a break. I'm still going to keep on working, but I'm going to take a break for a little bit. Actually, it's almost 6 o'clock. I'm going to go make some... I've got some chicken that I've already roasted. I'm going to dice and rip apart some chicken breast, mixed it with some... I'm going to cheat and use a jar of sauce, but Alfredo sauce with orzo. Kind of a kick on orzo. Quit doing fettuccine Alfredo. The Alfredo noodles are, they're alright, but I just got on an orzo kick. I really like orzo. So, this is it. Lighting build is done. We can come in here and walk around. And again, like I said, this wall texture, I don't know why the hell it's black right up there. Why do you have to have a little black line up there? Why do you have to... Why? Oh, Unreal Engine 4. Yeah, I'm going to end up having to rebuild part of this again. So when you actually get to this point, I would have to create another wall right there to place in. So it does need a wall, but yeah, whatever. I will worry about it later on. After doing the lighting build, I see weird lighting effects right in here. And here. I guess that would be a good place to use Substance Painter or throw a sprite on. I don't give a shit. I'll figure something out there. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Keep hitting up the questions on Discord, and I'll try to stream a little bit more later. Try to get a few more things done. Definitely want to finish up the bow of the ship and finish this floor. Like I said, I'll just do the I don't know where it's even necessary for me to do anything back here. I've got a wall there so you can't go through, and the ship itself is, looking at the Riviera deck, you can't get in there. You can't physically walk in there. That's actually machinery area and stuff like that. This would probably be the same kind of machinery and whatnot. It's not a normal area where you would normally go as a passenger on the ship, so I'm not going to worry about allowing people to go in there. It's weird to have one room sticking in there, though. But I may look into later on, because you see these two rooms right here, and these two rooms here, these two. These are adjoining rooms, so you can actually open up a door and go between the two rooms if you're doing both rooms for your family or whatever. So I don't know if I'm going to incorporate that or not. But there's no need to do anything for this area right here if you can't get in there. Same thing with this area, so I'm not even going to worry about it. I'll come in later and I'll start putting door frames in and doors. I've already got a simple light that I can use. It works pretty well. Yeah. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you after a while.